Can you trick your brain into trading better? That is the topic here tonight. It's going to be a very, very special edition on tonight's broadcast. Hope you guys are ready for this. Let's get right into it tonight. I'm going to show you guys something really cool. But before we get there, make sure and smash these buttons right here so I don't have to tell you again later. And of course, make sure you're following us over here on Facebook. And of course, here on Instagram is where all the fun is. And here on Discord to come hang out with us. And don't forget, at the end of the summer, gold is gone. So if you're planning on hooking up with us, you guys know what to do. Let's come in here and talk about this amazing thing. Whoops, wrong button here. We are going to talk about how to trick your brain straight from some TED Talk information. I loved this TED Talk I had seen a while back, and as soon as I had seen it, I knew I couldn't wait to come back and show you guys, talk with you guys about this, because I have stressed this in my own way, and I want you guys to hear from somebody else, and we're going to tie it back into our trading itself. So let's go through this here tonight. I'll be watching and we'll be commentating as we go through this one. It's a good one. Let's roll.
About a year ago, I asked my YouTube followers to play a simple computer programming puzzle that I made with a buddy. The object of the puzzle was to get your car across the maze by arranging these code blocks that represent typical computer programming operations, such as if-else statements and while loops. Once you thought you had a good code, you would hit run, and your car would move based on the commands you had in the program. So I asked my YouTube followers to play it because I said I wanted to prove that anyone from any background could learn to code. 50,000 of them took the challenge and attempted the puzzle. But the truth was that I didn't actually care about proving that anyone could learn to code. What they didn't know is that we actually randomly served up two slightly different versions of the puzzle. In one version, if you hit run and you weren't successful, you didn't lose any of your starting 200 points. We showed you this message. However, in the other version, if you hit run and again, you weren't successful, we showed this slightly different message, stating that you lost 5 points from your starting 200 points. That was...
All right, so right here, I want to make this correlation with our trading. So, first, I have set out before, look, there's really nothing special about traders. I kind of joke around about it all the time that I think, like, look, traders, look, if you're offended easily by things, put your fingers in your ears. But here's the thing, traders, we are pretty worthless to society, okay? We literally do nothing but press buttons and collect cash. I mean, you might want to say we might be providing liquidity to the markets, but I mean, really, are we saving lives? Are we doing anything like that? No, so that's why I say, like, if you're going to become a great trader, like, make sure that those funds that you get, do something good with them, right? In society, for your family, for others, all that kind of good stuff. So, off of the philosophical note here, in your trading, I talk about using sim, going into sim, treating sim as though it is live, right? But one of the things that we're going to point out here is losing money. I think people who jump into trading without going through the simulation stuff, using market replay like I teach you guys how to do in your first 40 days, in your middle 40 days, learning how to put your stops right where they're supposed to be, and that it doesn't actually cost you anything. And literally that first little message that it said right there that said, oops, hey, that didn't work, try it again, right? That's what you want to hear. That's what you want to see. But some people think, oh, I really need to go in live because I'm just not feeling it. Like sim doesn't do it for me. Folks, you will not learn it as well. He's going to help out and he's going to make some of these points here, but point this out. What he's talking about here in our relation is sim versus going live too soon, using live capital versus sim. Let's continue on and see how this experiment worked out. And I think you guys are going to be surprised at the results.
Was the only difference. In one version, if you failed, we simply took away 5, no value in the real world. No one will ever see these completely meaningless fake internet points. That minor difference is crucial to keep in mind for the results I'm about to show you from the 50,000 data points we collected. For those who were penalized for failed attempts, their success rate was around 52%. For those who were not penalized, their success rate was 68%.
Think about that. Not penalized, was able to succeed. Let that sink in. I'm about, like, this is that moment where you need to, like, insert the drama. All right, where's my drama button? What just happened right there? Let's hear him say that one more time. Oh, no penalty. You were able to figure it out by a very strong, more than statistical anomaly level, folks. And this is just picking randoms, if you know what I'm saying. Random people, normal people, able to execute and solve the problem. There is a significant difference in no penalty, aka come over here, learn in sim. Stop trying to go live. Stop letting these furu gurus tell you got to put your toes in the market like day one or week one. As soon as you start with your subscription to them, you know, paying their vacations and you getting wrecked. All right, just stop it. Here we go. Let's play some more.
That statistically significant delta of 16% was really surprising and almost seemed too hard to believe until we looked at another piece of data that we collected, which was attempts to solve before finding success. It's shown in orange right here. So those who didn't see failing in a negative light nearly had 2.5 times more attempts to solve the puzzle. As a result, naturally, they saw more success and therefore learned more. So if you think about that and sort of unpack these results, the trick to learning more and having more success is finding the right way to frame the learning process. And this observation seemed really profound to me. It made me wonder, what if you just framed the learning process in such a way that you didn't concern yourself with failure? How much more successful could you be? How much more could you learn? And the next thought was that if this is a real effect, clearly there must be some evidence for this in real life. It made me think of toddlers. It's my boy. I helped make that. They are constantly trying new things, and they certainly aren't concerned with failure. When my son learned to walk, he didn't think about how dumb he might look if he fell down. And as his parents, we didn't punish him if he wasn't successful either. The focus was always on the end goal, and we celebrated the successes with him. And as a result of constantly failing and trying and discovering new things during that phase of our life, we discover so many more new capabilities within ourselves, and it's not even close to any other time in our life. But maybe using a toddler is sort of cheating because their brains are different than ours. To make the case that perhaps they aren't that different than us, I'd like to tell you about a plumber I first met when I was 8 years old. He was Italian. When Super Mario Brothers came out, my friends and I became obsessed. Like, we wanted to get to the castle and rescue the beautiful Princess Peach from the evil Bowser. We get to school and ask each other, like, dude, what level did you make it to? Did you pass the game? We never asked each other about details on all the different ways we might have died. When it comes to games like this, no one ever picks up the controller for the first time, and then after jumping into a pit thinks, I'm so ashamed, that was such a failure, and they never want to try again, right? What really happens is they think, oh, I've got to remember, there's a pit right there. So I think next time I'm going to come out with a little more speed. I'm going to jump a little bit later.
Oh, folks, if you're in here and you're a trader, you should be thinking right now what I've been telling you for a long time. Again, we approach the markets like a video game already, right? And keeping that mindset, stop thinking it is the end of the world because you fell down the pipe. Right, this Mario brother, you hopped up, you did it, you fell in, and like he just said, hey, you immediately start thinking in a video game, you're like, okay, wait, I need to go jump a little bit earlier. What's that? Maybe get into your trade a little bit earlier, meaning your stop is a little bit farther back, right where it's supposed to be. Putting that stop in the right location so that we can go ahead and ding it, and you know, it doesn't matter, like, oh, we'll take that one little hit, no problem. Next time, I got this because I've seen this so many times. I want to reiterate, I should have probably paused the video right up there where he showed the chart. Let me see if I can pull back to it again. Right here, look at this chart, okay? This was the try count, okay? Folks, look at the massive difference in the tries, okay? More tries equal more success. I'm gonna say that one more time. And this does not mean, oh, so therefore I should, I should blow up my accounts more. Okay, that's not going to happen. Although, over time, if you just got money to waste and throw away, then fine. But again, you're also having the negative side effect of those drawdowns. You're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to learn properly because your brain is getting the anti-dopamine sent to your body, because as you take those trades, you are literally learning negative components of that. It's not going to work for you. More tries equals more success. And if you are not penalized, meaning you're not real money, I don't care. People who come to me, oh, this really bothers me when you guys come to me. And again, you guys know who you are. You're like, oh no, Vinny, Sim just doesn't do it for me, man. Like when I got some skin in the game, right? All this stuff sounds logical, and it's not. I'm trying to use like somebody else from a TED Talk to come out here and beat this to you, because you need to come in here and put the tries on. What does that mean? Market replay. I'm telling you guys, market replay. I have seen a direct correlation. Mind you, I have trained hundreds of traders over the last 5 years as we've been out here in public. And again, even in my entire career, I remember I am a 15-year veteran of the markets, like professionally. Prior to that, again, just dabbling, I have a lot of experience. I've seen all kinds of markets. I've traded all types and all sizes. So, heed what I'm trying to tell you. I love you guys. I am trying to get this through to you. Tries equals success. Okay, more tries. Now, I don't want you trying at garbage. This is the problem too. You need the quality has to also be there, which is what AlgoBox gives you. It's like playing poker and always getting a good hand, never getting crap cards. You're always playing with good cards, but the flop can still, if the flop comes out on the table, just because you got pocket aces does not mean that you're going to win that trade. Again, and just as long as you're like, oh yeah, it fell down the hole, no problem. Like Mario, no problem. Next time, get the next one, go back in. But don't get yourself in this thing where you are stuck down here, less tries because you can't, because you're like, oh, I can't risk any more money. I can't. If you're over here in sim, it won't matter. You'll keep taking HMDs. You'll keep taking double cross, double moves and doing the second try. How many of you guys do I see as you're taking the double cross, double move? Oh my word, this is like the best trade setup for us. It's my absolute favorite trade strategy. And how many of you guys do I see? It comes back behind the cross on the very first one, stops you out to a tick, and you will not retry. I cannot, for the love of me, understand why you guys, as it blows back through that area, I tell you to do two things. Number one, draw a white horizontal line. Press one button. It's one button. Press F6. Bing, ding, click, done, boom. You see price come back through it, bam, enter in it again, put your stop right back in the same place. Again, it's a very small stop, very big targets, folks. Just practice, but the problem is you're not doing it. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you right here, because this is why I wanted to play this lesson through and hear it from a TED Talk for you guys, because he's saying right here, more tries. You've got to do it more times. Watch some of my videos, even in this small account challenge, where watch me. Look, yes, I'll get hit, but I'll immediately get back in. I'm not sitting there sweating about, oh, man, that one got me. Because, again, I have taken thousands of trades. It's the tries, folks. It's not because I'm better than you. Let me explain something to you. I am not better than you at anything, right? I'm just another person, and I've just clicked more times than you. Let me say that one more time. Why is Vinny better than you? Vinny has clicked more times than you. Oops, and of course I lost my text because I hit escape instead of the other button. All right, my point is this. More tries, more success. He's proven it right here. You guys get that? And I have clicked a lot. In fact, I can show this even with my own traders. The folks who are doing market replay on the weekends are coming in and smashing and running market replay at 10x speed. Do you understand what it means when I'm talking about market replay? Right, this is now it's called, what are they calling it now? So market replay was, you know, I'm old school. So in Ninja Trader 7, they called it market replay. Now they call it playback. Yeah, sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time tonight here. Market replay, otherwise known as playback, market playback in Ninja Trader 8, okay? So run this at 10x, folks, think about this. You get 10 times the numbers of clicks. Do you understand? Then people come, Vinny, he's too fast for me. I go, bro, you have this thing called a rewind button. Look, I get it. Maybe you didn't grow up in the 80s, you know, like I did, where you actually had to use the rewind button, and it had a little button, you know, had a little thing on the back of those tapes that we had. We would say, be kind, please rewind. Folks, use the rewind button. Oh, that one went too fast. Hold on, rewind. Okay, back a little sec, and then play it back, play it again. And then as it comes, get your finger on the trigger and tap, 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 okay? Get those trade clicks. Tries equals success. Does anybody not get it? All right, let's go. Let's listen to Mr. TED Talk. Tell us some more about why when you jump into the hole, stop sweating it and do it in sim and market replay. Let's do it. More tries. Let's go.
That was such a failure, and they never want to try again, right? What really happens is they think, oh, I've got to remember, there's a pit right there. So I think next time I'm going to come out with a little more speed. I'm going to jump a little bit later.
Do it better.
Focusing the obsession is about beating the game, not how dumb you might look if you get hit by a sliding green shell. And as a direct result of that attitude, of learning from but not being focused on the failures, we got really good, and we learned a ton in a very short amount of time. We were the right side of this graph. This is what I call the Super Mario effect.
The Super Mario
effect.
Princess
and not the pits, to stick with the task and to learn more. This caused me to reflect and realize that there were lots of other examples from my own personal experience where this attitude of life gamification, this Super Mario effect, led to more success and therefore
I tell you that a lot on the gamification of what we're doing.
Channel, where I will sometimes use my engineering skills to build things such as the world's largest Super Soaker, or the Guinness World Record world's largest Nerf gun, or maybe this snowball machine gun. This is fashioned from a leaf blower. That's my niece. Those are my nephews. I haven't quite figured it out, but when it comes to me, their uncle, they seem to have some trust issues. So these builds usually take me about 2 to 3 months, but there was one that took me 3 years. Basically, I wanted to make a dartboard where you could get a bullseye every time. The idea was that if you throw a dart, we could like track it through the air, and then we'd move the board to sort of like catch a bullseye. And so once we did the math, we realized that if we wanted to track the dart for a typical like game of darts, typical velocity, we would basically have to both track the dart and to move the board the same amount of time it takes for a human to blink once. No big deal, right? So I'm not going to bore you with all the details and the failures and the setbacks from a lot of metaphorical sliding green shells and those pesky hammerhead bros, but eventually we figured out it would take something that looks like this, which is 6 stepper motors and motion controllers, a Vicon motion capture system with 6 cameras, and just a ton of tweaking and rewriting the code. But finally, eventually, we arrived here.
And then AlgoBox arrived.
What's interesting is when I look back on that process, like I can honestly say my attitude towards that was the same attitude I had toward like rescuing the princess from Bowser. Like of course each failure and setback sucked, it stung, but it was no different than like falling in that pit on level 8-1, and they're like, you gotta go back to the level and try again. Like it was always like, okay, that sucked, but what did we learn from that? Like what can we do next for it? Let's hit it again. And this concept of life gamification is more than just like have a positive attitude, right? Or never give up. Because those sort of imply you're having to endure against your true desire to quit. I feel like when you frame a challenge or a learning process in the way I'm describing, you actually want to do it. It feels natural to ignore the failures and try again. In the same way, a toddler will want to get up and try and walk again. Or in the same way, you want to keep playing Super Mario Brothers. Or in the same way, the group on the right had a desire to stick with that puzzle 2.5 times longer. They weren't getting paid to do that. Nobody was forcing them or watching them.
Now, some of that stuff with trading. So again, these are small things, but I tell you guys, look, look at your workspace, look at your area, be proud of your space. I know mine's a little bit messy right now. I've got some papers and things hanging around. I like to keep it real nice and clean, but look, be happy about your area. Make your area around your desk area that you should be spending a lot of time, getting a lot of tries. If it's not an enjoyable experience, you will not spend the time there. I'm gonna pause right there and think about what I just said. This is that moment. You will not spend time at it if you do not enjoy it, and you need to be able to enjoy the space. And think about it, if you have a spouse, like this is a big problem, I've talked about this in videos before, I'm gonna hit on it again. If you have a spouse who is not supportive of what you're doing, that's also a major problem. That's also a hurdle coming against you. Again, I'm not saying you can convince them, but you know what's neat is when your place looks this freaking cool, okay? That it looks good when your wife, your husband, whoever is coming in and being like, why are you spending so much time in, oh, hey, this is nice in here. Hey, I want to come hang out. Listen, my kids love coming and hang here. My wife loves coming in here, hanging out. We come back here, we kick our feet back on the couch, we talk about stuff. Just, this is the place where we all kind of hang out. It's literally kind of, we got a big house and we got a lot of cool stuff. But folks, this is the place we hang out, all right? Now, when we get our pool finished out, I mean, we're probably going to be at the pool a bit more, but this is where everybody hangs out in my office. It is so cool. And one of my cameras in the far back, for some reason, is blipping on me, or I'd show you guys like the full big picture, but go check it out on Instagram and see what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying your place has to look, like mine, but you do need to at least have a space that, is really, it feels good. It needs that you need to have your space. You need to have your desk area where you can sit down there comfortably and enjoy what you're doing, because we need to spend a lot of times and a lot of reps in what we're doing, because again, like he's showing right here, the reps matter, the tries matter. You need to spend time taking them. But again, this what's cool is you can just tell yourself and know that if you're trading with a good system with Edge, that if it's going to play out over time, you continuously take those reps with the proper sizing like we do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 per session. And again, if you haven't been through our system and you don't know 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the bonus trade, depending on where you're at in your time as well as your P&L, we learn all those things in our trading system. So go check out the training videos on our website. There are 30 there free for you to kind of really get into it and get the 2-week free trial to learn all of that type of stuff. Again, it's going to take you a little bit longer than that. It usually takes about 40 days to cover everything, but the first 30 videos on our website, those are premium member videos, and you will understand the trade setups and strategies. But you got to now come in here and press the buttons. Okay, I'm giving you amazing set of tools, but you got to come in now and press the buttons and get those in, get those reps. So because I love watching you guys smash it. That's what he's pointing out here, and I love that this guy is saying basically the same thing. So let's keep going.
It was just them on their computer alone in their house. Their outlook made it so they wanted to keep trying and learning. And the icing on the cake for the dartboard was I took it on Jimmy Kimmel and challenged him to a game of darts. And I'll just set this clip up by saying 2 things. The first is we also had a mode on the board where if your buddy had it and threw a dart, the board would move the other way. And the second is that we couldn't get this thing working during rehearsal, and it was just barely kind of creeping along. I get up to stand in the elevator, which is the door that moves up before you go out on stage. I look to the right, all 6 cameras had failed. So my buddy John is feverishly restarting all the cameras as I'm going out onto stage knowing this, and there's 4 things in bits, and I work up to the dartboard as the sort of grand finale. So just keep that in mind as this clip starts. That's where my headspace is. 3 freaking years, and it comes down to this moment. What you're gonna do is you're gonna give this dart to your buddy.
Okay.
And you're gonna challenge him just to hit the board.
Just try to hit the board.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
All right, hot shot. You got double or nothing?
All right, yeah, all right. Ready? Okay.
All right, and so then I step up
This
here.
does this automatically.
That's right.
And you built this.
That's right.
Yeah.
I step up. Here we go. Fake it till you make it. I will say, in all of our testing, literally, we never had a dead center bullseye as much as that one right there. And so, like, after that, I haven't even touched the board since. I'm like, I'm so done with it. And I really believe that if you reframe like the challenges, it can make all the difference. I have a simple thought experiment to sort of showcase this. Let's say I gave you a test and it had instructions on it that you would carry out. And to do that, it had sort of buttons like this. And the instructions would say something like push button 3 for 5 seconds, and then push button 6 for 1 second, then push buttons 3 and 5 for 6 seconds, and so on. And unless you carried out the instructions on page 1 exactly, you couldn't see the other 32 pages of the test. How much would I have to pay you to take that test for an hour? Now suppose I changed the word test here to game, and I rotated this. And for the input device, I shrunk the buttons and moved them here, and I gave it a cool paint job. And maybe different button styles. And then instead of using words, I represented the tasks you needed to accomplish visually like this. Note the output is the exact same. You have to push these buttons in a very specific manner to move on to the next page, or level, as it were. Now picture it's 1986. How much would you pay me to take this test, just for an hour? If you have a very bad imagination, here's a hint to the right answer. I know, I was there.
Nintendo! Thank you.
Oh, don't go on me, go play with it. That has to be the greatest YouTube clip of all time. So as a science YouTuber, sometimes I feel people have framed the act of learning science in a negative way. It's been taught poorly, so it feels scary to them. It feels something more like this. And my approach is to take the same physics lessons you might have hated and to try and sort of trick you into learning something through something cool. Basically go from this.
All right, folks, this is trading. Here it is, last lesson for me tonight, and I'm letting you go to it. Folks, this is normal trading. They want to tell you to go read the books. Yeah, go read this trading book. Go read that. Go read Market Wizards. Go read this. Go read that. Blah. You're not going to be successful like you will if you were to take this whole thing, turn it into a video game right here, right now. AlgoBox. That is how we do it. Listen to the man right here.
So for example, in this video, I made a hot tub with liquefied sand. And this is another one of my nephews with
Make it
unexplained
fun.
trust issues.
Make it
I
good.
explained in the video that it's a fluidized bed, and then we talk about the principle of buoyancy and how it makes the whole thing work. And I use several examples, like, you know,
Because yes, I will teach you how fib and why fib works and why Elliott wave is good and why Dow theory is good and why order flow works and why all these components. I will show you, I will teach you all those things, but you don't have to worry about all of them, how they all to put all together. You don't need to have all of that knowledge and then go, what's wisdom? Wisdom is being able to take the knowledge and have actions with it. Wisdom is the application of knowledge. I will teach you both. You got knowledge and you need to have it in a format that can come at you. That is what we do here with AlgoBox, gamifying
a
it.
ping pong ball like this.
And I love that
like
this
to think
guy
my
basically
approach to
drives it
science
home.
is similar to velociraptor hunting patterns. So I get people to come in with something cool and amazing, like a sand hot tub, and then when they least expect it,
Clever girl.
admittedly, the analogy breaks down a little bit right there at the end. But by reframing the learning process and focusing on the cool end goal, the fear of failure is often taken off the table, and learning just comes more naturally.
The fear
I'll
of
close with this
failure.
thought. Someone came up with this cartoon, and I totally love it. This is so true, but often in life we tell ourselves that the top version is what we want, that's what we expect. But then something happens. Maybe it's a really bad grade on a test, or a meeting with a client that goes horribly wrong. Maybe it's a bad breakup. Maybe we miss a wide open shot. Some kind of green shell hits
That's
you.
your P&L right
So at
there.
that first setback or sign of failure, doubt creeps in. And we tell ourselves we're not good enough, or we're not smart enough. And yet, if the bottom rectangle here is a game where now your bikes crash and you have to get your bike across to the flag, it's not, oh, I hit these rocks, I'm just gonna leave my bike here, I'm not good enough, and you quit and walk away. You see that flag to the right, and you're like, nah, like, what did I just learn? You're like, okay, next time, I think I'm gonna come out with more speed, and I'm gonna lift the front of my bike up. You wanna try to
Right about here in your P&L, right? You're going along, you're doing good, but this one right here, you're like, man, you take this big dip, and all of a sudden you're like, dude, you start to doubt everything. You're like, oh man, what the... But if you do what we've talked about before is keep practicing, you'll know, because you'll have hit some of these in your practice session, which is why I tell you guys, look, get that warm up, run it through 120 days. I know it sounds like a long time, but in reality, like the folks who are successful eventually are usually 4, 5, even sometimes 10 years into their trading career before they finally kind of like, I mean, of course, mind you, most of them, what I have seen is like they trade so fearfully and hardly trade at all. Again, their levels of success are very low, but at least they find success. But 120 days, folks, is not a long time. But if you get enough trade reps in 120 days, think about this, times 10, which means, again, for those of you math folks, you know, you're adding a 0 at the end. Now you're talking about, it's like having 1,200 days. Think about what I just said there. At 10x speed in market replay, 1,200 days. Think about it. Got that? more than 3 years of time in 120 days. This is why we have this program, folks. All this stuff, I know we don't talk about the philosophy a whole lot, and maybe not enough. And some of you guys, I feel like you've been asking questions lately where I kind of need to come in and just, give you something like this here tonight to understand why you go through the process, what you're looking for, keeping your eyes on the prize, know where you're going. But when you have this moment of doubt right here as your P&L on your, hopefully sim, because you're listening to me doing sim and market replay first, that you're not learning this the hard way, where you're literally like, fear overcomes you, all right? And your greed cannot get you there when you're looking for that goalpost on the green, all right? Green and greed and the goal, all the G's, because the F is trying to fail you out on the fear. Understand? Like he's saying, keep your eyes on the prize, know where we're going, but you've got to practice.
Again, you're immediately excited
Hit
to go
those
for it.
tries.
We sort of tell ourselves we want our life's challenges to look like the top one, but that's boring. If that were a real video game or book or movie that went out to the market, it would be a total failure. Nobody would buy it. Where's the risk and the reward? Where's the challenge? There's no feeling of satisfaction. The bottom picture is real life, and that's not a bug, that's a feature.
Nope. Yep, that's right.
Think about anything that means anything to you in life, whether it's a degree, a relationship with a friend, or someone in your family, maybe a professional accomplishment. I can guarantee you it came from something that looks like the bottom and not the top. Failing and failing and failing and eventually succeeding to the point that it now holds value. Just like the most meaningful high fives of my adolescence were those when I said, dude, I finally beat Bowser last night. I feel like a lot of the successes in my life have come down to the Super Mario effect. And while framing challenges like this has worked for me, of course results may vary. Everyone is going to be different, and I don't know exactly what it looks like for you to take this principle
And yes, results may vary.
and map it into your life. But if we got these very real results from a very different cross-section of very unique people, clearly I'm not alone. There's some universal principle at play here. By shifting your focus to the princess and treating your life's challenges like video games, you can trick your brain and actually learn more and see more success. Thank you.
I hope you guys got a whole lot from that. I'm going to wrap it up right here, folks. He has said it right there. I can't even say it any better. Do it like a game. That's how we approach it. That's how we run it. That's how we do it. Welcome to the crew. If you are new with us, 2-week free trial down below. Don't forget the summertime stuff, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. For me, Pippi, Robbie, Let's Mod Squad, Curtis G, and the rest of the gang. Listen to that big H down. See ya.
In a world of scammers and shammers, there arose one demigod to wreck them all, making trading great again.